Hey YouTube, hello, welcome to our new series, Linked. It's a podcast, intergenerational. Today is our first episode. We're going to be talking about unconditional love. We know that there are so many directions that we could go when we talk about unconditional love, and it can be a sensitive topic for some people. Make sure to stay to the end to really capture the fullness of our conversation. And also, we're going to be recommending some resources and some books that have supported us in tapping into unconditional love. And as a part of this podcast, like I said, it's intergenerational, and I'm doing it with my dad, Esteban Ruelas. Do you want to introduce yourself, Pops?
I'll do it again. My name is Esteban Ruelas. It's an honor to be here and to share some of our thoughts. And we hope that it will help others, and that's our main purpose.
Yes. I think another one of our purpose or goals with this is also to be a model of two people that are similar and different, and being able to come together to talk about topics that are big, like unconditional love, or topics that can be more controversial, and also model that we can agree to disagree and be in a relationship where we respect each other's differences, the things that we individually believe, think, and even the ways that we behave that are different.
That's right.
And so, like I said, today our first topic is unconditional love. And so I'm the one who chose today's topic, unconditional love. And I know that I have some thoughts about it, but I want to start off with hearing what are some of your first initial thoughts when you think of unconditional love?
Myself, go back to connection. Without unconditional love, it's hard to connect. I was reading this book. It's called Brainwash. It's a couple of doctors, and it's a father and a son who wrote it. And the father, as a doctor, he was expecting people to think that the most important thing in life, it was health. Being healthy.
Yeah.
And it took him time to realize that for people, the most important thing is not health or wealth. Is to be connected. Mm-hmm. The health and wealth and all the rest, they're just resources for connection.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, to be connected, it cannot be without unconditional love. So that's why I believe it's relevant, and that's what I think.
Mm-hmm. And I guess what I first thought of when I was thinking about unconditional love is, what does it mean to have unconditional love for yourself? So you're sort of talking about the unconditional love that connects us to each other. And I think that there's some, right, when we think, at least for myself, I like to think of energy, and so we're not separate. It's the same to be connected with ourselves and to be connected with each other.
Right.
And
so you cannot be connected with yourself and not be connected with others. The first connection that we have is with ourselves. Because how we allow our minds to think for itself. So, if the mind is thinking, and then your body wants to think, and then your heart wants to think, and then your guts want to think, so you got like who is going to think first, and who am I going to listen to?
It depends, right?
Yeah, you have to be connected. It's just one body. The brain, the heart, the body, the guts, whatever. Like me, I believe in body, soul, and spirit. But I know there are other people believe different, and I don't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But still, even if it's only body, spirit, and soul, they have to be connected.
Yeah. And I think in terms of the thinking, which is where we're at right now, that without unconditional love, that our thinking can move towards shame, towards guilt, blame, right? Things that don't make us present or don't allow for us to be present to the moment and are wanting us to, worry or focus on something we didn't do or something we did wrong or something we should have done. And that for me, having unconditional love allows me to just accept what the journey has been without needing to spend my time thinking about what I didn't do or how I was wrong about this or about that.
Yeah, no, because again, we have to accept our hearts, hearts, emotions, right? We have to trust our brains, our thoughts, and we have to love our bodies, regardless of how we are, fat, skinny, tall, or whatever. So we have to connect ourselves as one. And if we can do that, then we can connect with others. That's why we can try to connect with others without connecting with ourselves. And that can happen. And you can go to a bar, you can go to a church, you can go to different places. But we have to connect with ourselves. Then we can connect with others. And that cannot happen without loving our bodies, trusting our brains, and accepting our feelings, our hearts.
Yeah.
And that has to do with unconditional. Because according to other people's eyes, and even to our own eyes, according to our conditions, we are wrong. And we always going to find something wrong. Our body isn't right. Our thoughts isn't perfect. Our heart is lying to us,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's our domestication, right?
Yeah.
And I think that without getting too much into other pieces, that's where we are susceptible to manipulation. And that I think that there is a freedom to unconditional love, where you get to decide for yourself, what you want to do. And that's behavioral, so we're going to get into that right now. But our next piece is going to be around, how does it make you feel? When we get into that state of unconditional love, how does it make you feel? What comes up for you?
To me, what it comes, when like you said, to love myself unconditionally, it makes me feel like a feather. It makes me feel light. Nobody and everybody. Nothing and everything. Because it does not matter. Mm-hmm. So that's what it makes me feel, me, connecting with myself. And when I connect with others, saying with the unconditional love, it's like two birds flying together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
or
interesting.
Like two surfers, right in the wave.
Right in the wave, yeah. That's interesting because I that's what came up for me too, is feeling light. And one of the chakras, because I like how you brought up that there's lots of minds, right? And that's one of the things about the chakras, is that they're different energy centers and that they each have their own mind. And the one for the heart is the one that taps us into unconditional love. And the element connected to the heart chakra is the element of air. And that when we tap into unconditional love, we get to feel this lightness, this flow. I also, as I was meditating on it, I was feeling open. And there's a way in it for myself that when I'm tapping into unconditional love, I'm open to the world around me and the world inside of me. I'm willing to go inward in a way that it feels less scary, less blaming and shaming. And so I have an ability to explore the world in a different way.
Yeah, because we always want to be according to the way we are conditioned and according to the expectations of others. We always want to be wrong. So the only way to take away guilt, shame, and fear is to love ourselves unconditionally and do the same with others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely cannot practice the act of unconditional love towards others if we can't practice that act of unconditional love towards ourselves. And as I was meditating about this as well, I was thinking about how growing up, for me, I feel really grateful that I always had the idea that God loved me unconditionally. And even though there was a tension, and we don't have to get into this too much, between how God could love me unconditionally and the idea that there was a hell, and that really the reason that there was that tension out of everything else, it wasn't because, science or friends or people. It was really that I just couldn't put those two together. That I believed with all my heart that God loved me unconditionally. And that for me, that transformed me, because I felt like I don't need anybody. I don't need one single other person for the rest of my life to tell me that I'm perfect or that I'm amazing, because God already loves me unconditionally. And what else do you need? Who else needs to love you, right? If that's what you believe, at least.
Yeah, no. See, the thing, that's another topic we probably talk about, beliefs. See, the thing with beliefs, you can always change it. A belief is just a thought that you end up falling in love with. When you love a thought, that become a belief. So, anyways, what?
A beautiful belief. Having a beautiful thought. Yeah, it's a belief.
Yeah, it's a belief. So that's like I said. If God is not for you, then why you want God for? You know what I mean? It's like if you want to create imaginary friends and they don't talk to you, might as well. I don't want them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But imagine some friends.
That's right.
Some friends that love you unconditionally.
So
right. Bringing it back around to how we feel towards ourselves, but also towards others, right? I want to add one other quick piece, because I work across the nation. One of the things that I do is consulting around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I believe, I guess, which is just a beautiful thought, is that we, as a country, we really need to be able to tap into unconditional love for each other. And that's going to be a really important factor in how we move forward as a world. If we can tap into this unconditional love, but that's just
well, that's why we're doing this, I believe. Again, going back to beliefs. That's why we're doing this, because it will happen. We don't know. It can happen. We don't know. But we can do what we can, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We loving ourselves unconditionally, and we want to do our best to love others unconditionally. It might work at times. It might not work at other times, because sometimes, the same as we want to love others unconditionally, we want to be loved unconditionally as well.
Oh yeah, big time. I need to be loved unconditionally.
We are another topic. That's a need. Need is another topic, because then we come into apegos. How do you say apegos? Attachments.
Oh yeah.
So
that's a good one. That's for the next one. That's 110%.
So we don't want to come up with unconditional love, making it toxic. Making an attachment. We wanna be real. We want to be real. Sometimes we don't love ourselves, and we try, but we don't love ourselves. So don't expect me to love you, because I can even love myself at times. And it's not like it's a one time done thing. It's just do it every day, and that's all we can do.
Yeah, no, that's a discernment. That's a practice. That's a practice.
Yeah, because sometimes just because we've done it once, we think we can do it forever. It's not going to happen. It's not. It's just, there are days and there are days. There are times and moments, and there are times and moments.
Everything in seasons. Yeah, in its seasons. And so, with all that, I think we kind of started moving in the direction of unconditional love. What does it look like? We've been talking about the topic of unconditional love, and we've sort of explored what our thoughts are on it, what are the kind of feelings that it evokes. I also really appreciate that the conversation has gone in the direction of unconditional self-love for ourselves and for others, and interconnectedness. And so we want to spend some time thinking about what are the behaviors that we connect with unconditional love.
In my opinion, it's like a philanthropic thought. When you want the best for others other than yourself. You know what I mean? And like you said, for ourselves. Like to love unconditionally myself is to allow my mind to think sometimes, or to allow my heart to feel sometimes, or even to allow my stomach. I want to eat. Oh, you can't eat it. It's part of my body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's interesting, because it definitely, one of the things that I thought of was experimenting, and that having unconditional love gives me an openness to experiment, right? To interact with the world around me in a way that's spontaneous. And I think that that's a part of me experiencing liberation from my domesticated self. And that it's weird, it's interesting, because we're talking about interconnectedness as well, right? And there's a way in which unconditional love, it's like I can love you without condition, and also that comes with not expecting anything from you, right?
Yeah.
And so in the same way, I don't expect anything from you, and so I also don't care what you think. But that doesn't mean that I hate you, or
when you say the word "I don't care," at that right moment, the other person feel like being attacked or being hurt.
Uh-huh. And so that's where I wonder what the way of saying it is, right? Like,
well, it's like before I came here, I asked a couple of people about what is unconditional love, and one couldn't tell me much. He just says God, say, oh yeah, God. And the other person told me, like, unconditional love means I accept you as you are. And I said, perfect. But I'm gonna add a few things. So I put a couple of dots, and then I add, I accept you as you are, even though I don't know how you are. But sometimes we come to that point that, well, I accept you as you are, but I don't even know how you are.
And can I add another piece?
Sure.
I would say I accept you as you are, even when I disagree.
Even if you are not who you think you are.
Even when I thought you were something else.
You know what I mean?
But that's for ourselves too.
It's for ourselves,
right?
yeah.
Because we made agreements.
Yeah, because you see, even I'm gonna go in my part, as a pastor. Even Paul the apostle says, the good that I want to do, I cannot do. And the evil that I know I'm not supposed to do is what I end up doing. But God still loves me. And I'm going to love myself. And I'm going to love others as well. Because sometimes, again, we get trapped into the thought that we have it under control. We don't have it under control. We can have one thing at the moment under control. But then the next moment,
and this is getting into a little something, but that wasn't even the contract when we came down to planet Earth, right? That's an illusion. Control. I'm writing down actually for another topic. Control. I think that the people they need that. They want to hear that.
Yeah, because I can go. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I can go into neurology, or I can go into psychology, or I can go into theology. But I'm not, because our purpose is not to teach you. The purpose is just to show that we can love ourselves and we can love others unconditionally. Mm-hmm. Not all the time, because sometimes I need or I want or I deserve. That's another topic, right?
That's another one. That's for another chakra.
I deserve.
That's the sacral. Yeah. I will. I just want to say that I think one more act of unconditional love for self is like, and it's hard because it goes both ways. It's either saying yes or saying no, but finding a way to recognize what you need at the moment in time and being able to say yes or no. Our conditioning doesn't really allow for us to make decisions. We make decisions out of past conditioning. So if we can make decisions out of self-love, it allows for us to re-engage our yes and our no in a way that I think is authentic and also healing for us.
And even if we do say yes, but we want to say no, or we say no, we want to say yes, and then we realize that wasn't what we want to say or do, we can always go back.
Yeah.
It's nothing wrong with. I mean, we call it repentance, but it's not about a word or a concept. It's about changing your behavior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I was just reading Richard Rohr, which was like a big part of what expanded my thinking into different realms, and I forget which book it is, but I was just looking through my library today, and the title is called "Changing Your Mind Equals Repent." And then, he's expanding the concept of saying, hey, repent is simply changing your mind. And I want to give us room to share a little bit of our final personal perspectives on unconditional love. So we've explored some of our thoughts around unconditional love, some of our feelings and the behaviors that we connect to it. And we just want to share some personal perspectives that kind of maybe bring us full circle with the different topics that we touched on and unconditional love.
What came to my mind right now is that we all start somewhere, and we start in a home with whoever. Some people like me, I was blessed to have my parents. I know others don't, but so other people do what they can, and it's for us to find ourselves, and if you ask me, I would say to lose ourselves. So the only way to find myself is to be lost. So, and then start loving unconditionally ourselves. It takes, it's painful. I mean, at least it was the way I went through. It was painful, but I have to learn to love myself unconditionally, and then I can love my parents and my brothers and the familia and everybody. And I'm not saying that I've done already, that I'm done but that was my experience.
And for me, it's that in the work that I do as a healer and as a consultant, I talk a lot about our authentic self, and a lot of people have questions around that. What is my authentic self? How do I know what my authentic self is? And for me, I believe that by tapping into unconditional love and being open to the world around us and deciding spontaneously, with an open heart, with unconditional love to interact with the world, we're going to discover new things about ourselves. And we're going to discover things that feel authentic. because we've been domesticated and conditioned on how to be, what is the right way to behave, what is the right way to think, and what are the right way to feel and to express, we don't know what our authentic self is. We don't even know what it feels like. And so we have to have an unconditional love, even for this facade, for this fake self that we made to survive, which I think is very powerful. So you have to really appreciate the power of our mind, of our body, and our spirit to survive, while acknowledging that it's not our authentic self all the time. And so with unconditional love, we're able to experiment and learn even deeper about who we really are as beings and what it is that we're meant to bring into the world.
Oh, well.
And it's hard, like you said.
Well,
it's hard. Like
this is you're ahead, and that's why I started from the beginning. The thing is this: as a chronologically age that I am, I can tell that you can come to your last minute to realize who you really were. Because we're always changing. I mean, we think we got it. We think we know. But the essence, it's something else. And it came to my mind, El Principito. He loved his rose. That he thought his rose was the only rose. And then when he saw many roses, he said, I thought I only had one rose. But then he came to the vine and says, you know what, no matter how many roses there are, my rose is the only rose. Mm-hmm. For the time I spend with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, the thing is, people, us, we don't know how to get along with ourselves. We cannot be friend of myself. People took me, I don't know, 14, 16, 18 years, 20 maybe, to realize that the only one that it will be with me forever until I die is myself. And then when I realize that, and I know that the rest of the people are the same as me, then I can love myself and I can love others. I'm not saying I will do it all the time or I will not fail, because I will be lying. But I'm aware.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what we're talking about, awareness.
Yeah.
You know, not that perfection.
No. Because perfection is a lie, a complete illusion. And I think, like you're saying, is that for me at least, the only way that I can accept myself in an ever-changing paradigm, right, where I am going to be changing, is through unconditional love. Because when in every moment in time, who I am makes agreements with the world around me. And the only way that I can break those agreements the next second when I'm a new person again is with unconditional love. Because if I don't have unconditional love for myself, I'm going to feel the need to attach myself to those agreements.
You're gonna go back to it. See, that it's like philosophy says. You can never shower yourself with the same water, for two reasons. Why? Because the water is always flowing, so it's never the same water, and you are not the same. You know, but it's hard to understand that because we are animales habituales. How do you say that?
Creatures of habit.
Oh, well, you want to call it creatures. I call it animals, but that's okay.
Animals have it. Well, I call it creatures because that's how the saying goes.
Not kidding you.
Right? The saying. I was going to translate it. And as you've been listening to us engage this topic of unconditional love, we want to hear from you. What do you think? What do you feel? And what are the behaviors that you attach to unconditional love? Did you hear something that you agreed or something that maybe you disagree and think something else? Comment down below. Give us a like If you enjoyed the conversation, you can even give us a dislike. If you didn't enjoy it and you're still here listening, we appreciate you and we value your opinion and your thoughts.
We want to hear what you think, not what we want to hear. And it does not matter what I think or you or us think. It's if we can love unconditionally ourselves and others. And to do that is to accept who we are, even though we don't know how we are.
Yep.
So, like, dislike, trust us and trust yourself. It's just us, you, us, him, and I sharing our love unconditionally.
Sin condición.
Right.
And I know that I brought with me this book, Bouncing Back. And for me, this text has been transformational in how I tap in to an unconditional love and acceptance of my past, my present, and my future. It has a bunch of great meditations in here, and it's kind of a psychology, neuroscience based. It's called Bouncing Back, Rewiring Your Brain for Maximum Resilience and Well-Being by Linda Graham. I highly recommend this book for people who know that they are on a healing journey and want support for how to think differently, but processing, right? Meditation for how do we deal with our feelings, and then also reflecting on what are the behaviors that create blocks for us, and what are new behaviors that will support us in creating the change that we want to see specifically. So that this is my resource. Highly recommend it. What do you got?
Oh, well, I was thinking while you were talking, but I was still listening. And again, going back to me chronologically, having more moons. I love reading. Because I can recommend this book from Enrique Rojas, Amigos, Adiós a la Soledad. You know, Cómo Conectar con los Demás, or this one, Brainwash. I mean, this is more psychiatric, Enrique Rojas, and these are two doctors. But again, you're gonna find things here that you say, I don't know why you say that, or I don't know why you recommend these books, because non-books in my chronologically time are like the book, you know. But if you can make the habit of reading, that's gonna help, because it's like going fishing. If that lake only have catfish, don't expect to catch trout. You're gonna catch catfish. So we're only gonna find who we are.
Yeah, no, and it's mostly that we want to encourage, or at least I want to.
No, that's you are doing it.
People are like, reading is powerful. Knowledge, that's something we talk about, is powerful. And even in the work that I do, I think about how every unit of knowledge is like sharpening my sword. It's reinforcing my shield. Information, it makes a difference for the ways in which that we are able to interact with ourselves and with the world. And so this is just a part of encouraging you all to continue to be an active part of your own education and in transformation of the way that you think, feel, and behave.
That's right. Remember, our DNA is just information. So
that's gonna be another one. Make sure to stay tuned in, because we're gonna be making more of these episodes on information, on endings. We already named a couple things today. we want to have a ritual of ending our time together by appreciating something about each other. And so I want to appreciate you for being on this journey with me, of sharing our ideas, our thoughts and perspectives online, and even being in the art kind of part of this, and setting up and trying to find a vibe. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you, Isaac, and I appreciate you too. I mean, you know who you are, and you know what you're after. I might not agree, I might not be, but that's who you are, and that's what you believe in. And you know, I wish everyone was like that. You know, everyone knew what they want and what they want to do. Not everybody, or very few people, and you are one of them, that know who you are or what you want to do. That doesn't mean what other people can think. I know what I'm saying, and I hope you listening and you heard what I say.
I heard it. I appreciate it. I receive it.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like it works.
And this is another thing we want to model. Appreciating each other, even across differences, is another important part of reconciliation, unity, connection, unconditional love. Thank you for checking out this episode today, Linked. We really appreciate you for spending this time with us. Comment down below, what was your favorite quote? If you've read this book before, if you have any book recommendations on unconditional love, we'll be back. We're going to be recording these on the weekly, so be on the lookout. Con amor y sin temor.
Eso es todo.